Hi, everybody. Welcome to our broadcast.
Hello, welcome. Here we are with Energies and Opportunities, our monthly broadcast. We're going to be looking at the month of July. We're going to start looking at the remainder of June. We're broadcasting today on Saturday, June 21st. I'm Carol Eastwood.
And I'm Chetan Parkin.
And
Welcome.
we're excited to be with you today. In our broadcast today, we'll begin with the remaining energy of June, and then we'll be looking into the entire month of July. As creators of evolutionary human design, we produce this monthly broadcast to share with you the planetary energies, both the challenging ones and also the easy ones, as we'll experience them in the coming month. And we do this in order to support you to be aware of the upcoming energies and be prepared, so you're working with the energies instead of in any way blindsided by them. It is no secret that we're living in highly challenging times. And today we're going to be unpacking some of the major challenges that are revealed through both the astrological matrix and the human design matrix, and looking for the evolutionary purpose behind them. So we want you to know also that we're in the last week of our promotion for our human design professional certification course. If you desire to become a master of delivering a highly impactful human design reading, this small group 9-month program will take you step by step into all of the essentials. You'll have both myself and Chetan bi-weekly for Zoom meetings in which you can submit your charts and ask your questions, and we'll answer your questions and coach you along the way as you go through the 9-month training. So ideally, we're working with you to be able to deliver and practice with us delivering a life-changing reading for your clients. So if you want to know more about it, go to our website, evolutionaryhumandesign.com /certifications tab. Go to certifications tab, and you'll see there our certification training. You also can request, if you're considering, I know many of you have been seeing our ads about it because we've been promoting it all month. And it's a small group training. We still have room for 3 or 4 more people in the training, and we'd love to have you join us if you feel called to take your human design practice to a whole nother level and really be able to change people's lives. So if you read the page about it and learn more about it on the website, and if you still have questions, you can always book a discovery session with us, and we'll make a time to get online with you and answer all your questions. Okay, so for those of you who are called, we are here and ready to serve. Okay, so now let's turn our attention to this month's human design and astrological energies, and take a look also at the coming month of July. So the first thing that I want to mention is that we're broadcasting today on June 21st, but just yesterday, the sun went into the sun. The sun left the sign. Sorry.
We're now at the summer solstice.
We're at the summer solstice,
Right.
when the sun left the sign of Gemini and moved into the sign of Cancer. Sorry, I had the wrong notes in front of me. So anyway, so we've now entered the sign of Cancer, and that is the summer solstice. Of course, in the southern hemisphere, that's the winter solstice. But either way, it's a big turning point. And at this solstice point, at this new moon and solstice point, we've got the moon conjunct Jupiter in Cancer. So, and of course, the sun moving into that conjunction. So the sun and the moon conjunct Jupiter in Cancer. And this is going to bring a lot of renewed inspiration for creativity and finding the inner and the outer resources to fulfill our purpose. So we're going to go deeper with what's our purpose really? What is life calling us to now? Because everything's changing, right? all the landscape is changing, and it's changing fast. So what is it now that, who are we now, and what is it that we're here to gift the world with? So, can we get me on the right page? This page, thank you, not the page before and before. Okay, that's not the right page. This one, page number 3. Oh, there you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so one of the things that's been happening at this time is that this planet of expansion, Jupiter, as it now entered the sign of Cancer, because it's been in Gemini, so it's been a lot about connecting with people and finding our new resources and new connections and learning new things. But now, as it goes into Cancer, it's about preserving, protecting, growing, and nurturing what we have, and bring us back again to the values of family, of community, also self-preservation. However, we do have a challenging aspect at this time from Saturn and Neptune. So Saturn is the planet that has to do with our lessons in life. Neptune guides us to become aware of our higher spiritual essence. The two of them together forming a challenging aspect to that Sun-Jupiter conjunction I was just talking about. And essentially that's, it could keep the kind of the flames of conflict going that we've been seeing on the world stage now for the past several weeks. And what it's doing is it's stirring up conflict that really has to do with people being entrenched in rigidly held beliefs and being unable to yield to reason, or unable to yield to the changing times. So the call to us, those of us who are a bit more conscious and working with evolutionary life, working with our awareness, is the call to us is to allow that flexibility, embrace the change. I hear a lot of people complaining about AI and how it's going to ruin us. And, every new invention, people do this down through time. It's, what if we just lean into it a bit and learn about it and start working with it and see how can it benefit us? Mars, the planet Mars, which has to do with our work in the world, has been in this really highly volatile 90-degree right angle with Uranus, and Uranus stirs up trouble and brings change and awakens us to, what isn't working, and brings us face to face with higher states of awareness for those of us who are ready to go there. So it's been an exciting time. It's catalyzing this huge tension and conflict that we've been seeing in the world since, especially around the second week of June, when I'm sure you'll have some comment about that, because we've had it, this practically insurrection going on in the US. But this aspect potentially now, as Mars moves out of that right angle and enters the sign of Virgo, it may help to inspire a more reasonable approach to resolving our differences. So that's something that we can look forward to. The financial landscape right now, and for the past couple of weeks has looked pretty bleak, in that the things that maybe used to be working and used to allow for greater financial flow are slowing down or stopping altogether. And it's really throwing us back on ourselves to ask, what is it now that I'm being called to do? And how is it that I can monetize the work that I am doing, the gifts that I have to give in the world? So we're sort of questioning, but remember, this bleak outlook isn't going to last for long. It's a short time that's getting us to question, because when things are going great, we don't question things, right? We're just flowing along with it all. It's when we have challenges that we stop and ask these really deep, soul-searching kind of questions. Chiron is the body and space that has to do with this potential to link the higher self and the lower self, so that they're working in harmony together. So our spirit essence with our personality being, and harmonizing those two energies. It's providing some positive and potentially mitigating kind of energy um, that, that can possibly have a good effect on all the worldwide tensions that are going on. I mean, for those of us who are willing to make changes or willing to, meet the others halfway or see the other's viewpoint or be more reasonable, that's what we're really being called to do. And Chiron is offering up that opportunity at this time. So I want to just remind us that the darkest night is always right before the dawn. So this crisis point that we're in right now is catalyzing a shift and bringing us towards resolution. Okay, thank you for getting me on the page.
So from the human design perspective, the summer solstice brings us into the life theme we call the vessel of love. And the hexagram involved in that, where the sun placement is in the 15th hexagram. And the 15th hexagram is one of the love gates, and the vessel of love incorporates all 4 of the love gates. And the 15 in particular is love of life, love of humanity, and the recognition that humans live in a very expansive realm of possibilities, extremes, all kinds of different cultures, all kinds of different ways in which people do things. So the vessel of love reminds us we're all on the same boat here, this little blue planet in the middle of nowhere. And just the solstice gives us that possibility to pause, just to kind of remember, how important it is, all my opinions and attitudes and things, especially in this time where all kinds of things, as Carol said, is changing. We're in the middle of a massive change. America is going through her second revolution. And we just hope and pray it's a consciousness revolution and not a military one. But it's exactly that's what's going on. America is reinventing herself at the moment. And America's birth date is July the 4th. And the particular life theme for that day is individualism. And so America very much, whether you like it or not, the whole background theme for America is the power of the individual, being the individual. And of course, individuals have their own viewpoints and things in life. So really, this is a great time to pause and just see, am I clear about my interactions here with this summer solstice? The other thing, you mentioned Chiron just now, and Chiron's going retrograde first, and it's just gone back into gateway number 3. So Chiron, the wounded healer, the one that has to come to terms with things that are maybe not so palatable in life. And the 3rd hexagram is very much about new arrangements of things, innovation. So just again, great opportunity in this time to clean up our attitude towards what's going on around us. Love is the message. That's the message of today. And to me, it's the only energy that's flying through this universe at any time. So we're just reminded at this time.
Yeah.
So the sun goes on, moving on, and goes, from our point of view, looks like it's gone into hexagram number 52. And this opens up the life theme we call service. And the interesting thing about this particular life theme is all 4 quarters of it are logical. They're all collective. And so service is really something that we can offer without having any expectation of some return. Of course, in business, if you're providing service, yes, there are returns, but it's not necessarily a quid pro quo thing. It's not that I'll do this for you and you give me just this back again. So service is a way of life. It's about interacting to bring benefits to humanity. We also have at the exact time on the 25th, we have a new moon. And of course, the new moon in this hexagram of 52. And 52 is, out of all the hexagrams in the I Ching, this is the one that's called mountain, stillness. So what I recognize about this particular placement of the new moon in the 52 with the first line is, in the midst of all the madness, in the midst of all the chaos and the carry-on and political nonsense and all kinds of things, can we find that inner stillness? Can we find that still point? Can we be in service? Just, how did I get to have this life on earth? How can I contribute here? How can I offer myself? how can I offer my goods and abilities, my gifts and abilities? So you mentioned this thing about AI and all the concerns about it, everyone's lives are going to change dramatically. Sure they are, but it is that thing, it is part of what has come about. I won't say necessarily it's been invented by us, but it is something that we're here to play with and interact with and derive benefit from. It's quite clear that we're going to have a lot more time on our hands in the years to come. Who knows how the money thing's going to work out, because it's all changing anyhow. So getting past that concern, got to keep on going with the old ways and to see, well, how can I interact and benefit, and how can I really bring forth my gifts in this time when everything's changing? And I'm going to have a lot more time to play with, more time to use my creative gifts. So that's what I see as we come to the end of the month of June. Great time for retrospective on this regard as we go into a very, very different chapter in life. And just to record the new moon in gateway number 52 in the first line, it says, pause before acting. Inner stillness is sufficient unto itself. And I just want to say, I met a client the other day who had the fixed life theme for the 52, stillness. And lo and behold, she's a dance instructor. And she's been a dancer all her life. And it just, you got the sun in the, or you got your life theme in this thing of stillness of the mountain. And to me, it was so very clear that somebody that's really active, really capable in her dancing, at the same time holds that tremendous inner stillness. The steps, the body knows exactly what to do, and just being very calm and clear and present while all that is taking place. So that's how we end up the month, in this finding that inner stillness and seeing how can we bring benefit to humanity. Over to
You ready
you.
for me? Okay. So yeah, I want to go back to the new moon on the 25th and just look at it from the astrological standpoint. Here, we've got the sun and moon together at 4 degrees of Cancer, Jupiter at 3 degrees of Cancer. So, we can't just look at the new moon by itself. So the new moon new moon every month begins a new cycle of experience. And the new cycle of experience when the new moon is in Cancer is a cycle in which we're experiencing, perhaps in some new ways, our family, the things that really have value to us, the things that are foundational in our lives. And with Jupiter there, it's really time to be looking at expanding, what does family mean to us, and who is our family? Is it just our biological family, or are there other people out there, other soul friends out there who are part of our soul family? And are those people in our lives now? Are they coming into our life? So it's a time of kind of gathering our family. And it's in this framework of this, Cancerian desire to preserve and protect and grow. And that desire to preserve and protect is perhaps even stronger now, because we have this rapidly deteriorating social structures going on across pretty much all
the whole planet.
The whole planet, and all of the main social structures that we've relied on for 100 years or more. So even more than ever now, we need to find who's our family, who are our people, and how can we cooperate and collaborate together to make to allow the changes to happen, to allow the transformation, and then to build life anew with a new understanding. So that's how I see this new moon. It catalyzes tremendous possibility. It is in this right angle, challenging aspect with Saturn and Neptune. I talked about that a little earlier. Saturn, the structures, the traditional way that we do things, what we always have known. And Neptune tends to dissolve those things and say, but what if this possibility, what if that possibility? So we're looking at, what's possible to really change, to transform. What can we let go of the things we've depended on to be a certain way in the past, and trust that we'll evolve them to support us in new ways. We've got something astrologers call the finger of God, which is this one aspect that we could say is it's it's very fateful. It feels like it's fate, the hand of fate. Now, we all have free will, and so we've chosen whatever we experience. But to some degree, this aspect is it's got this sense of this must happen in our life. It's not a choice. It's not, well, we can skip this. This must happen. And so what we see here, and there's two of them, which is unusual, very unusual. What we see is that it's catalyzing this exponential evolution of consciousness. At the same time, it's birthing this new inspiration for transforming our collective beliefs. What we have believed in the past, just doesn't serve us anymore. So how do we transform that? There's positive aspects from Mars that are, included in this finger of God, this aspect that provides the catalyst for how we can bring the most significant changes. What are the most significant changes that are really needed, and how can we plan to bring those changes into fruition, into expression? The other thing that's happening is Venus. We've said, or I've said, that Venus is in a sort of a difficult place, although it's in its home sign of Taurus, where it loves to be, but it's not had some great aspects for most of June. As we get to the very latter part of June, Venus is going to be joining Uranus. So we're going to have some surprises, some new possibilities, some value adjustments that must happen in order for us to really see our way forward. But then that also lights the way on our path for us to bring our light, our wisdom, make our contribution into the world as it now is, and help it to evolve and help all of society to evolve further. So that's the potential of these two aspects that astrologers call the finger of God. And one last thing I'll say about this time, the end of June going into the beginning of July, is that we also have some very favorable Mercury aspects. Mercury, the planet of communication, making connections with others, finding your people, your group. And what is it that you need to stand for in life, to teach, to share? And how can you bring your ideas and your gifts, your contribution into the world? And there's some very favorable aspects when we just let go of having the mind control our life, and we let spirit be the guiding light in our life. Then the people who we've met to meet, the situations that it's important for us to address, the opportunities that are met for us, can find us really easily. And life begins to happen in a sense of flow, even though all around us, we're seeing all this, bad news, things crumbling, things are falling apart. But what we're here to do is bring everything back together in a new way. And the only way we can do that is by raising our consciousness. So that very powerful movement takes us into July.
So as we enter into July, from the human design perspective, the sun goes into gateway number 39. And 39 is gateway of provocation. And what is provocation all about? It's about opening up to the possibility of reacquainting ourselves with our spirit. It's so easy to get into a drudgery in life that you just keep doing the same things over and over and over again. And we get dull, and we go along with whatever's been suggested to us. And the 39 literally pokes us. It pokes us to wake up, to kind of review, am I living my best life now? So as it enters into gate 39, it opens up this life thing we call tension. And tension is all about literally correcting our status in life. It's impossible to play a stringed instrument if the strings aren't taut, if they're not up at the right tautness. So it's the same thing in life. If we're not attuned to our reality, we just carry on in a state of drudgery. So the opening of July gives us this possibility to reattune. By the 5th of the month, the sun goes into the 5th line or the 4th line, and we enter into this life theme we call individuality. And this is the life theme for the United States of America. It's the life theme for many people who live a very, very particular life. It just happens that all 4 of the gateways that are concerned with the conscious and unconscious sun at that time, they're all in individual gates. And so again, we have this possibility of reacquainting ourselves with what is our true nature as an individual. Not part of the crowd, not part of everybody else's programs, just in our own right. What is that all about? And at the same time, Neptune does this turn to go retrograde. It's in gateway number 25, alongside the planet Saturn. And the 25 is gateway of innocence. How long ago was it that we were children that didn't have a care in the world about anything, and we just had this very innocent approach to life? And what does it take for us to reacquaint ourselves with that? And if we're talking about Neptune here, Neptune, the planet of love for love's sake, and just life is such an amazing experience. All kinds of things are possible here. And just to reacquaint ourselves with our innocent nature, our innocent connection to our spirituality, perhaps. And the fact that Saturn is there as well is just reminding us there are certain things that get played out on the earth plane. And at this particular moment, we're looking at this, what is my state of integrity as an individual here? So it's very poignant time for us to just really recognize, am I living true to myself at the moment? Am I actually embodying my life, what I've been given to play out? I mean, Carol and I go on and on about human design, actually putting us on our own map in our life. And it's everything you need to know about your life is in your human design chart. It's all there. We're uncovering more and more pieces of it every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so this entry into July and this acquaintance with getting our life in shape a little bit, the tension, and then moving into the space of individuality and just really recognizing, am I living in integrity, true to myself? Or am I kind of hedging my bets and going along with what the media tells me or what I've been trained to think? And as Carola says, the moment we get out of our head, everything starts to change. Head to the heart. You know, the heart is singular in nature. The head is always split, always divided, always dogmatic or stuck with something or other. So very powerful entry into the month of July. And I'll just say one more thing is that around the 7th of the month, the sun goes into gateway number 53. And at the same time, the south node now is in the 47, which is a gateway of making sense out of things, where all of a sudden you get it, like, oh, this has all been going on, and now I understand what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And it's got an interaction with Mars in the 64, and this goes on for about 10 days. Opening up this channel of 6447, which is this mental process of really making sense out of things when all the bits and pieces start to slot into place. So I gather we're going to get a lot of revelations that have been kind of hidden behind the scenes a little bit. Mm-hmm. A lot of things are going to come to light. It's like, oh, I always wonder what was going on there. I wonder what this person was all up to. And I'm not going to get into all scandals and stuff like that, but we're in a pretty, what can I say, unstable point in time at the moment. And when some of these revelations come through, and if they're not all cloaked and hidden in what can I call it, fake news?
Subterfuge.
Subterfuge, yeah. There are a lot of things that become very apparent for us. And it's going to open up the possibility of us reacquainting ourselves with what's really important for us, which to live a life of integrity. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Over to you.
Okay. So yeah, I agree. I mean, you're saying much of from the human design perspective, much of what I also see from the astrological perspective, a little different take on it, but it's interesting how the two really kind of resonate together.
In different ways.
Yeah. And I see the same thing, that once we get into the early part of July, some of that pressure begins to abate. Some effective solutions start arriving, or we start becoming aware of them. We have a first quarter moon on July 2nd. That first quarter moon in Libra And, Libra brings the balance. It brings, okay, so there's differing viewpoints, but where can we meet in the middle? How can we find the balance? How can we make peace here? So I think there are effective solutions to many of the, look like horrendous world problems that are possible for us to reach through. There's some breakthroughs coming, some creative inspiration for implementing the new technologies that we've been talking about. And, really integrating them into our daily lives and our work, the way that we live day to day. Venus has moved now at the new moon really close to Uranus, so the two of them are what we astrologers call conjunct. They're right together. This is a highly electric combination. It's highly creative, potentially very inventive, and it can fuel new confidence in our continued economic viability. So if we look at things from the perspective of where we are right now, the 21st of June, things look a little bleak economically. The market's going down, even crypto's going down, and there's all this fear out there and uncertainty. And I'm not saying that all of that's going to be resolved by the 1st of July, but I am saying that some breakthroughs will come, some realizations, and that's going to be enough to give us the continued economic viability and have us look at the future in a new way. Like, well, there are possibilities. There are new ways we can address things. There are positive outcomes that can come from all of this. And that sentiment is going to help to strengthen our economies. Really, the only thing right now that can slow progress is fear. Fear is what's causing people to cling to old beliefs and old ways and stay stuck in rigid systems. And so the more that we can support the people who we work with, the people who come to us for healing or for learning, for whatever way that we support our communities and the people in our lives, we can help them to let go of the attachment to those old rigid beliefs so that they step into new possibility, which is what this time is all about. It's also what the birthday of the US is all about. Independence is about self-reliance, individuality. The answers are within us, and they don't come from our mind. The life questions that we have don't get resolved in the mind. They get resolved in the heart and soul. So this Mercury aspect, we still have very positive Mercury aspects. Mercury in this beautiful trine flowing energy with Saturn and Neptune, opening up more of our intuitive inspiration and letting us, tune into the wisdom of our hearts and access the guidance that we need right now. Also, Mercury, still in this very, very Mercury, the planet of communication and how we interact with the world, still in this very positive linking aspects, and it'll be there for a bit of time now, where, Mercury in Leo, opposite Pluto in Aquarius, where we're transforming our systems, our ways of doing things, we're creatively inventing new things, and in a positive aspect with Neptune and Saturn, saying, well, here are the systems, here are the processes, here are the way that we can do this. So we're going to see that this innovation is going to be rapid. Adaptation to new breakthroughs can be supported by an increasing number of people who are leaving, for instance, people who are leaving traditional jobs and starting entrepreneurial ventures, which that's happening in large numbers now. So, we're on the brink of the birth of a new world. So hold steady to what you know is your truth. Stay clear within yourself, and then you'll emerge as somebody who's part of the solution rather than part of the problem. That's what I see at this first quarter moon. So we're just building, we're building from the new moon, which is birth this, beginning potential. And the first quarter moon says, all right, now let's get active with that potential and bring it into being.
So around the 7th of the month, the sun goes into hexagram or gateway number 53, which is the gateway of new beginnings. And it opens up this life thing we call penetration. So there's no let up, in a sense, from reevaluating our circumstances and really tuning into what it is that's going on, present tense. And the 53, this new beginnings, it opens up possibility of all kinds of new life experiences. So within a few days, it goes into the 53 with the 5th line and opens up the life thing we call cycles. Cycles basically means we get involved in something, we have to see it all the way through. So just to be very alert around the 10th of the month, to be clear, what is it that I'm opening up for myself? Have I made any promises? If I've been on vacation and musing over what I'm doing in my life, do I need to take different steps going forward, opening up a new round of possibilities? Just before this takes place, we have a full moon, and this takes place on the 7th of the month. And it takes place in the 54, which is the gateway of ambition, and it's in the 4th line. Now, there are 384 lines in the I Ching. Every hexagram has 6 of these lines. Every line has something different to say about the context of life. So within a year, we have all these 384 different descriptions of what goes on and how to embrace them. Just energetically. We're just talking energy here. We're not talking about, scientific realities. It's just describing the energy as closely as possible. The 54 with the 4th line is one that really draws my attention, because if we're going to look at something that's mysterious, the 54 with the 4th line is this. Ambition is that the striving for something to expand our life, to give us greater access to things in our life. And the 4th line is the one where there can be a switchover in what it is we're expecting. It's almost like being on a tightrope, walking across on a tightrope, keeping your balance. And you're doing very nicely, set where you're going, balance is good. And then all of a sudden the lights go out. And that's the 4th line. What we were expecting, what we saw, engaged with, where we were heading, what we were putting ourselves towards, all of a sudden the whole thing changes. And what do we do with that? And this is where this new moon takes place, or this full moon takes place. The line is called illuminating, acknowledging that existence has her plans for us. Transformation in its purest form, when you realize that what you want is not necessarily worth having, and then finding out how to live with that. You find equanimity and the balance between the earth and the spirit planes. So just a very, very, very particular full moon. I think the full moons of late have been very powerful, but this one is really, I see the possibility of dramatic change within the human experience here in this time. In that it looks like plain sailing, it looks like we're all set on course, it looks like certain things are guaranteed to happen. And then all of a sudden everything inverts, everything does something different. So it'll be an exciting time. It'll be a great time to be in meditation, perhaps find that still point in time of the day. Immediately after this, Saturn does a retrograde as well in the 25 line 4. And the 25, the gateway of innocence, I already said Neptune was there, and Neptune did her turn too. But Saturn's turn in the 25 line 4 is a very interesting line, because it's basically us standing unmoved by all the slings and arrows of all the difficult things that get put in our way, all the complications that people throw at us, all the conditions we're supposed to play along with, obligations, things like that. And all of a sudden we realize, I'm a sovereign being here. None of this stuff sticks. None of this stuff means anything to me. And I use my very favorite phrase from California here. Thank you for sharing, everybody. Thank you for all your great input, great suggestions, obligations, all this stuff. I'm choosing my own place in this moment in time.
My own truth, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing we can really know for certain is our own truth. And that's the beauty of human design, is it shows us how to return to that place Makes it so easy for us to access our truth at any time.
Over to you.
To me, okay. So the full moon on the 10th of July, in the cardinal sign Capricorn, opposing the sun in Cancer. As we said, that's a very powerful full moon. It's catalyzing, it brings us face to face with the difficulty of rapid cultural change, which is what we're in right now. And that the kind of the fear and the uncertainty that erode confidence and impede progress. But the vision for positive change during this time remains really strong. So, there's a fervor for innovation, and that's continuing, and it's been happening since the earliest part of July, and it continues. We come face to face with the fact that, we've got some amazing projects, those of us in our own lives and also on the world stage. Amazing projects, big breakthroughs, scientific breakthroughs, energy breakthroughs, everywhere, environmental breakthroughs, but they all need big investments. And, until the funding is there, the energy is there for those investments, that could bring some delays. So, be aware that delays are part of the process, because sometimes we need to recalibrate, find new sources of information or the resources we need. And we're going to have Mercury, planet of communication, nearing its retrograde period. Retrograde is apparent backwards motion. So don't despair during the Mercury retrograde. Just keep going, but also realize that it's about 3 weeks of kind of looking back over the past 3 months and everything that's been accomplished or experienced and learned, etc., and making some sense out of it and compiling it all for yourself in a way that you can now move forward. It's also a great time for completing, wrapping up things that have been hanging out there that you've been meaning to do that you haven't gotten to yet. So it's a time of kind of coming, bring yourself current and your projects current. And at the same time, looking for where are those resources that we need in order to move forward with some of our big projects, big innovations. The other thing that's happening right now is really significant. The planet Uranus. Uranus is that awakener to higher states of consciousness. It awakens us to our soul level. The fifth dimensional awareness, where thought becomes reality. And it's been for the last 7 years. It's been in the sign of Taurus. On July 6th to 7th, it moves into the sign of Gemini for the next almost 7 years. So for that period, this coming period of this next 7 years, we're going to see a revolution in communications. Now that should come as no surprise to you. We've already seen the rumblings of it, but all we've seen so far is just the very beginning of it. Now it's going to come with Uranus fully in Gemini. It's going to come hard and fast. So we're going to see massive changes in the way we communicate, new devices, new pathways. It's just, it's a very, very exciting time in the trend. The exciting thing is that we've got these behind the scenes plans going on for major transformation in the world's monetary systems. The whole system of exchange going through big changes, big transformation. And that these changes, this transformation has been brewing. Progress has been made behind the scenes, but we probably won't see the revealing of all that progress and the new currency system and the new methods of exchange for a bit of time yet, but it's all in the planning stages now. So over this next 3 months, as we enter the summer season, these next 3 months of it's cardinal energy, it's innovative, it's in motion, it's let's get things done kind of energy. We may see during that time the beginning of the changing of how value is exchanged between people and people of different walks of life, different countries, different cultures as well.
So things move on. I talked just about Saturn making a retrograde motion and just realizing we can stand with whatever changes that come to us. We don't have to buy into what we're told to do. And you remarked on the Mercury doing a retrograde turn. I laughed when I saw this, after all these things, these transits that have happened this month, particularly reacquainting ourselves with our sovereign nature, our individuality, our integrity, our personal integrity, realizing that a lot of the wool that's been placed over our eyes is being pulled apart, that we can get to see things on a much clearer level now, that a lot of these things are going to be very, very hard to conceal. And it's just that possibility of kind of expanding our beliefs a little bit and just saying, wow, I always trusted in this way of seeing things, and now I'm being shown something very different. So Mercury, our thought process, our communication process, it does this turn in gateway number 7, which is the gate I call uniformity, everybody agreeing on things in a similar way, but it does it in the 3rd line. And whenever there's a turn, it just kind of really accents that part of things, like pay attention here. The 3rd line is called disordering, a reluctance to acknowledge or be drawn into hierarchies of any sort. And what it basically says is, there are all these expectations around us. Oh, you should do this. Oh, do that. This is the normal things. And with the 7 with the 3rd line is said, in your dreams. I'm not going to go along. In fact, count on me doing something completely different. And so there's just that added part here. I get a sense there's going to be a review of the train wreck that is in motion at the moment.
The train wreck meaning?
Well, all this political disturbance, people fighting with each other. I mean, for goodness sake, can't we get over this stuff? I mean, we just had these incredible marches around the country where silent protests, people just being quiet and behaving themselves and just saying, we're fed up with this nonsense. We're fed up with it being guided into something that's really obviously dysfunctional. So I do see a change in attitude. I see a change in hearts. Like, we're not going to go along with this crap anymore, and we're going to review it all. So I just see there's a point in time where a lot of people are just going to say, I'm fed up with being pulled along by this train wreck and, these bad behaviors. It's time to upgrade. From here, the sun goes into the 56. It opens up this life theme we call the laws. And the laws basically is a mutative life theme. It brings about radical change in how things take place. It seems like, especially in America, I don't know about other places so much, that there's been this real effort to rearrange the laws of the land in ways that benefit few, but not many. And that sun going into the 56 may open up that possibility of just saying, we're not going to go along with this stuff. We have to do something very different. So I'm just going to stop there for now before we make the shift into the next sign of Leo after Cancer.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say one thing about the planet Uranus. It's been coasted along, as you say, in the sign of Taurus. And in human design, it ended up in the gateway number 8, which is in the throat center. It's the voice of helping people come together. And it moves into the gateway number 20. And gateway number 20 is the gateway of the now. It's the gateway of present tense. And I always say to myself and to other people, salvation in this life is always in present tense. You can be bombarded with all kinds of information and chaos and everything going on. But the moment you snap into the present tense, everything can become clear. There's always that fresh moment. Everything can start from now. And so I like to see this idea that Uranus is going to give us that possibility of all this chaos going around us, and the 5th dimensional jump out of complications into a realization is by being in the present tense, literally snapping out of the head, out of the disaster, out of whatever, and being present. So that's what I'm going to remind myself about very much in this month coming.
Good.
Be in the present.
So On July 17th, we have a third quarter moon in Aries, and this is the point in the cycle, the monthly cycle of the sun and moon's dance together, when we've had the full moon, we've had the realizations, we've seen what could be accomplished or what could be understood or learned, and now we're in high implementation phase. So we're putting it together, we're bringing it down to earth, we're learning, or we're gathering our knowledge. So it's a good time to review now some of the things that we've been putting in motion or been looking at putting in motion, and ask ourselves again, is this really our truth? Do we want to continue doing this? So Mercury, you were talking about, it's retrograde. It turns retrograde on the 18th in that third line of the 56?
The 7th.
The 7th, that's right,
Yeah.
the 7th.
Yeah.
Which is, the third line is always highly mutative. It's a powerful turning point. And so that retrograde is like a pause. It's like, wait, stop. Like you said, get in the now. What's true now? Astrologically, Mercury turns retrograde at 15 degrees of Leo, which is a critical degree. So another, it's a big turning point. It's a big, wait a minute, stop. Let's review. Let's really look at this. We have all this high creativity wanting to flow, but how are we going to, what do we need to incorporate? What do we need to learn? What have we missed? Are we moving too fast? Do we need to slow down and incorporate a deeper kind of understanding, or include more people's viewpoints, et cetera, more people's input? So we have this impetus to start these new creative projects and objectives, and it's a good time to be planning them, because Mercury and Venus are in this beautiful linking aspect, Venus in Gemini and Mercury in Leo. But it's a good time for planning those changes, but not a good time for implementing them yet, until after Mercury goes direct, which happens on August 10th, 11th. So let's say by the third week in August, the energies are moving at speed again, and it's time to really start going with some of those new creative ideas. Powerful, powerful time we're living in. So Pluto has been, Pluto as it went into the sign of Aquarius, which is the sign of humanity. And it's just at the very beginning stages of its transformation of our understanding of humanity. It's bringing this relentless force for change and transformation. And now it's that process is picking up speed. Now Pluto's retrograde, so it's still kind of reviewing some old ground in terms of what, what it's been challenging, what it's been saying needs transformation, what it's been showing us needs transformation. But it's also, in a way, that whole process is picking up speed as the planet Uranus moves into Gemini and starts interacting favorably with Pluto. We've got big transformation and all kinds of ideas for how to implement those. So again, we're about to roll out the red carpet for the new, and really step into the possibility of doing things in completely new ways. We may find ourselves energetically stretched pretty thin, as the planet Mars, which has to do with our work in the world, is in a difficult aspect with Venus. We've got multiple projects that are all vying for our attention, and unfinished objectives that are calling for us to finish them. The whole thing that I'll say about all of that is that it can seem overwhelming when we're in reaction, rather than when we're in the present moment. So when we're staying present, moment to moment to moment, that's when we're the most effective. So the latter part of July is time for reviewing and renewing our professional associations and connections, and reviewing whatever we've put in motion in the past, and seeing, what needs tweaking, what needs change. So that's what I see for this
Very good.
latter part of July. And then there is a new moon.
New moon on the 24th.
Yeah. Do you?
Well, I'll say a little bit about it. Yes, it's the new moon in the 31, which is a gate of influence. At the same time, the sun has gone into the 31, it's in the first line. And at the same time, we got Venus and the North Node having an interaction with the 1222. This is a channel that opens up all kinds of possibilities. Things that we've not actually considered before, gateways that have been closed off to us, or we didn't even know there was that possibility. So innovation happening on many, many different levels. At the same time that the new moon's taking place, we have another interaction with Mercury, the Mercury retrograde, but the sun in the 31, Mercury in the 7. And so we have this channel of leadership, logical leadership. So there's quite a few things going on at the end of the month. Changes in energy, openings of possibility, taking a whole new direction in things. And I'm not somebody that really gets into predicting things too much, but I really do feel like there's going to be a slowdown in the business as usual approach to life. And a lot of people claiming their own power now and just say, I'm not subscribing to this nonsense anymore. The 31 in the first line is called opening, finding the sincerity to allow yourself to be influential. That is the energy of that particular moment in time. So how to be influential in your own way.
Coming from your own truth.
Coming from your own truth. And we've talked about that, being in your own integrity in this time.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have this new moon coming up on July 24th. Now we'll be back with you, but the new moon's going to happen before that because our next broadcast will be on July 26th, Saturday, July 26th. Just before this new moon, the sun leaves the sign of Cancer, where it's been this whole time we've been talking about, and goes into the sign of Leo. That happens on the 22nd, July 22nd, 23rd, depending on where you are in the world. So the sun goes into the sign of Leo, and then we have a new moon, the new moon on the 24th, just following that sun ingress into Leo. So all change again, new moon, it's a new beginning. There's a new perspective on life dawning, the sun and the moon in Leo. We're seeing where can we apply our creativity. It's an exact opposition to the sign, the planet Pluto, Pluto in Aquarius. And this is this, seminal aspect of our current times, powering through, all these systems, the ways that we've done things in the past, and just uprooting some things by the roots and saying, this isn't working anymore. This isn't working anymore. We're going to do things differently now. So it can be still a bit of an unsettling time. And you don't need to say that. I might be understating that, but even though it's unsettling in that there's so much change and confusion can always result from so much change. But again, what do? We come back to what's our truth. Are we in the now? Are we living moment to moment to moment? Are we connected with our higher self, our spirit essence? Are we living life from that guidance rather than from all the fear mongering and the carry on and the mental confusion and the mental trying to find solutions that never work? They never have worked. So it's time for something completely different, something completely new. And we'll explore that more when we're back with you. Are you finished?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll explore that more when we're back with you on the 26th for our next broadcast, which we look forward to very much. We hope you have a very productive and interesting and powerful month, and that it's been somewhat helpful to you to be reminded of our own sovereign nature and the fact that we have access to higher truth always. And when we follow that and we're clear about it, life unfolds the way it's meant to for us. Many blessings to you all.
We'll see you next
See you
time.
next time.